When I speak on marriage, I don't speak on it from the inside matrix perspective. And this is not really me talking about just marriage with a piece of paper, but I want people to understand the importance of a union. I'd say overall, with that said, this is probably the most unwedded generation on record, especially regarding living in the West. Now, in other parts of the world, it's still traditional, and yeah, traditionally, they didn't require papers to prove a marriage. So I figured I'd throw that in the conversation too. But I'd say all this to say that yeah, most people use relationships to sidestep marriage. And simply from the standpoint that most people don't usually take it much further. And I've always liked to say that I really don't believe in relationships in themselves. Yes, I don't believe in a relationship in itself, but I do believe in different types of relationships because at least in my mind it's all about not sidestepping marriage with just this simple act of having a relationship. Because one has to even think about when a person even says things like they want to end a relationship with you, what does that really mean? Well, in some context, if you just not really in the know of things, you just figured they ended a relationship with you. But this actually has bigger implications based on the way that I'm going to break it down to you. So let's get to talking about it. Well, here's what I mean by how we pretty much sidestep marriage with just relationships. Now, if we really want to think about it, the purpose of one getting with the other is based on establishing a union. It's based on establishing a relationship. And usually this is in the form of courtship. One tries to say friendship. No, friendship, that's usually for people you're not trying to establish a courtship with. So even keeping in mind this idea of when one says, hey, we need to be making sure we're friends first and we have a friendship and all that. Now, that's for people that you don't have a courtship with, but yet y'all still have a very positive type of relationship, right? So it's just a lot of things that have been just not fully defined. In essence, when one just generally speaks on the terms of just relationship and there's no specification about it, there's really just more confusion there, especially when one talks about ending a relationship with you. Well, what type of relationship did you have with them that they wanted to call themselves ending? But I would say this, that person wanted to end things with you without having any type of relationship with you. So it gets deeper and we're going to go deeper. So let's go there. So let's just, even just from the standpoint of me talking about courtships, one can say that one even uses just this general notion of a relationship to sidestep even courtship. You haven't really been courting with this person the whole time, even though you called yourself having a relationship with them, even though they called themselves having a relationship with you, but they knew deep down inside it wasn't going any further than that. And they didn't want to take it any further than that. So looking up courtship. Courtship, usually that's defined as a period during which a couple develop a romantic relationship. See right there. See how they did that? Not really defining what type of relationship it is. They just describe it as a romantic relationship. Well, it's a romantic type of relationship. That's what should have been said in this definition of in this dictionary here, right? It should be a period during which a couple develop a romantic type of relationship. You can't do that with a friendship, can you? So there you go. Someone saying they want a friendship with you doesn't mean it's going to be a romantic type of relationship. Thus, it's not necessarily a courtship. Be on the lookout for someone just talking about having a relationship with you, but they just want to make sure it's a good friendship, right? So keep that in mind. But yeah, a period during which a couple develops a romantic type of relationship, especially with the view to marriage. Here's another one. Behavior designed to persuade someone to marry or develop a romantic type of relationship with one. A behavior of male birds in other animals aimed at attracting a mate. Why did they just not say attracting a female mate? See, but we're not going there with the whole androgyny that I just noticed here in this statement, right? We're not going to go there. But yeah, people sidestep all this that you see before your screen, because of just them having a generality of relationship is in general. So that's something you got to be on the lookout for with everybody that you're dealing with. Yeah, there's just that notion that, we just don't really understand. There's a lot that's implicated here when we're just generally saying we're having a relationship with somebody. And then on top of that, you always have people make the separation between relationship and marriage. So there you go. I mean, how come it can't just be courtship? Why just generalize everything by saying relationship? Because relationship isn't something to necessarily generalize, but we do this all the time. And I think it just messes up our notion and outcomes with each other. If we're really trying to get together, like what are y'all trying to do in regards to getting together? Or is it even about getting together? Because, see, that's actually what courtship is. But most people don't really get to the point of getting together with you. So you have to be on the lookout for people who aren't really trying to get together with you like that. But, hey, let's just talk generally about what relationship means, right? Because at least we're getting out there what it should mean regarding the relating of things, what it should be about. But most of us don't do that. We don't get to the point of doing that because most of us are just really not trying to go there. We're in it for our own selfish reasons. And then we develop our own reasons for why we no longer want to be in it. Not truly defining why we are even trying to be around a person in the first place. And I just think it's sad. I think it's sad that's what we deal with in these times. And I think it just needs to be established early on that, hey, we have a courtship here that's leading towards a marriage. We're not buddying around with this notion of just having this general relationship, not knowing what type of relationship we're having and where we're going to end up with it. We're not going to sit here and just play house, basically. People back in my day and where I'm from, we talk on this notion of we're not trying to just play house. And that simply means we're not trying to just act like we don't have something going on here, but yet we want to, still play the part as far as just uh like a playwright. Right? That's another conversation in itself. Like this ain't really what we going on. We just playing some type of script or skit, like some of these videos y'all see, no pun intended, but like people like do little skits here on YouTube. So, but yeah, relationship. What's a relationship? The way in which two or more concepts or objects or people are connected, or the state of being connected. So this tells me that relationship itself defines itself as not simply a relationship, a way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected. There are different ways that all these things have connections, right? So one can't just say that we're connecting one way, we connect in several ways. So when it comes to courtship, one can ask, are we connected in that way right now? What way are we connected in? And I like to say here at this channel, through the connection is the understanding. So maybe there's a misunderstanding about our connection here because we're conflicting here all the time. So what is the misunderstanding about us? Are we connected or we're not that connected? See, through the connection is the understanding, and that gives you a key to the type of relationship y'all have. When you just generally say that y'all just have a relationship, that's not a true definition of that connection, and it also doesn't fully describe that connection either, right? It could be a very loose connection from what it sounds like, though. But this is what most people do when they just generally say that they have a relationship. They're not trying to be fully connected with someone like that, right? Y'all not necessarily having that connection lean towards marriage. And we see a lot of this going on right now as we speak. We see a lot of this going on. So we're not supposed to just be having relationships. We are supposed to be having relationships with a purpose that fully define why we are connected. But most people don't define why they are connected. And you wonder why you talk so much about all these fake people that you have in your life. You have to get good at defining these connections, not just merely describing them, or you don't have a description of them, because we can look back if we're talking to a therapist or something. We probably just huh, take a deep breath and then a sigh and say, you know what? I really don't know what type of connection I had with this person. I can't really describe it. I can't even tell you right now I was ever really connected with that person. Some people even say that when they do actually get married, but they hadn't truly defined their connection early on and beforehand. They probably never even courted, but they still got married by paper, right? So there's so many ways and different layers we can break this down. Yours truly is not a dating coach. None of that. None of that. But I just want y'all to know I know what I know. I am definitely a relationship journeyman. So on these journeys, I've learned a lot of these things, and I've learned that, yeah, relationships a lot of times just are not truly defined. And therefore, there was no definition to what you had with whoever you ran into. There's some confusion when you look back, and that's understandable because, back then you couldn't fully define what you had. And maybe as time goes on, you could define it. You're getting better at defining it. So you're getting better at making sure people that get with you are truly trying to connect with you. Okay. And so you only get better with this in time. And I hope that this video helps you get better with this as time goes on. Thanks a million for stopping by. And I hope this video makes sense to some.